Not a lot of defense there. There's a Jeremy Grant dunk, and then Mason Plumlee, an alley-oop dunk. Jordan and Nash having a conversation on the bench. Pistons up 11. DeLon Wright, coast to coast. Nets allow 40 in the paint in the first half, and they trail by 9 at the break. Their good's really good, but their bad's garbage. James Harden to the rim. Well, not the rim so much, but Nets within 9. Kyrie, ball fake at the three-point line. Beautiful lefty finish. The Nets offensive stars trying to claw their way back into this game. Less than a minute later, Kyrie, jumper good. Ensuing Pistons possession, Jeremy Grant, the off-season acquisition, steps into that one. Grant responds immediately. The Pistons grab the 8-point lead. Heading into the fourth, a game-high 32 in this one for Grant. Top of the key, bottoms. Minute later, Nets down 8. Kyrie, yikes. He had 27, but visibly upset with this loss by 11 in Detroit.
We're seeing it day in and day out where teams are coming in and punching us in the mouth early, and we're playing catch-up. And it happens to be against the guys with the best records. And we got to call it for what it is, so we got to fix that.
You heard Kyrie reference it. The Nets are 7-11 in games against teams who currently have losing records, compared to 7-1 against teams 500 or better. As I said, their good's really good. The big issue's been defense. Tuesday was the 7th consecutive game where they've allowed at least 120 points, which extends the longest streak in the history of the franchise. The previous longest goes all the way back to 5 straight in 1977, and they've been victim to big scoring performances. Jeremy Grant, 32, the 16th 30-point game allowed by the Nets this season, most in the NBA. That includes 8 30-point scores in just their last 5.
Excuse me. Just coming out aggressive and making them feel us. You know, a lot of teams come out very comfortable against us, and then that's kind of the feel of the rest of the game is that we're playing catch up, and it's just not our way to play as a competitor. Just always down, and though we have the talent to come back, and it's just not our way to play. We want to dominate on both ends of the floor, especially on the defensive end, to make them uncomfortable. That way, we put ourselves in a better position. So, just starting off the game better.
I don't think we've talked to you since the finger injury. What is it like managing out there? How much, pain and discomfort are you having to push through?
Oh, man, it sucks, man. It's just, shooting very well in the season, want to continue so. And, you just have different hiccups that happen, especially on my shooting hand. It's uncomfortable, but at the same time, I don't want to make any excuses. I'm out there, put myself out there, do a lot of treatment on it. And, we're down a few players, obviously, as well. So you just want to go out there and compete and worry about the pain later. But, doing the best I can.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Hey, Kerry. Are you noting, a common thread? I mean, a lot of the games that you guys kind of come out and spot a big lead or maybe don't have quite a defensive intensity that you're looking for, a lot of them are against the, quote, lesser teams, maybe losing team without a great record. Are you noting that commonality, and how concerning is that mindset-wise?
Well, I think you guys noted enough for all of us. So I don't think I need to note it. It's pretty glaring when, game to game, and especially when the records are being used as kind of a reason on why we're not going out there and playing hard. I don't accept that, and I don't think our team accepts it as a whole. Obviously we don't want that to be on, kind of what teams think about us, and we're seeing it day in and day out where teams are coming in and punching us in the mouth early, and we're playing catch up, and it happens to be against the guys with the best records, and we got to call it for what it is. So we got to fix that, and that takes a maturity, that takes accountability, and that takes, realization on what we need to do moving forward. So every day, guys.
Malika Andrews with ESPN.
Hey, Kyrie. Steve said that his message was that this comes down to pride and who do you guys want to be as a team? So I guess, is this who you want to be as a team? And if not, then what is it that you're working towards?
Well, Malika, I think you can answer the first question yourself. I don't think that we go out every single day of our lives and sacrifice the time in order to be average at anything. I know you don't wake up. I know no one here on this call wakes up to be average at anything that they do. And we look very average, and we have the talent that the eye test presents that we should be dominating. We have the experience in terms of some of our guys that have been through certain things, circumstances to be able to battle through. And we're dealing with a lot of the reality that we're putting this together on the fly. Like we are the team that the NBA put the most games on. We're the team that gets someone taken out during COVID, during the games. We're the team that has to deal with the refs. We're the team that is literally battling against so many odds that at this point it's not even a reason to continue to comment on them. They are what they are. And as a warrior that I am, and that the energy that I have alongside my teammates, we just have to turn that corner. And we haven't done it yet, but we will. And I'm telling you, the league's going to be on notice when that happens. So just got to take it day by day.
Thank you.
Bruce Beck with NBC New York.
Hey, Kyrie, what is the challenge of trying to be consistent as a team when there's so many things going on around you, COVID protocols, injuries, left and right? There's a lot happening there. I don't want to lead you. I don't want to lead you as the guy who's asking the question, but I just want your perspective.
I mean, my perspective is just continue to do the things that we can control. And Steve is right. It takes pride. It takes effort. It takes a will. Night to night to get up for the guys that you're playing against. We all know when we play against the best, you're going to see a great game because it's easy to get up for those things. But the consistency of a lot of the great teams that have gone on to win championships is they do it on the road, they do it at home, they do it against the good teams, and they do it against the average teams. So until we can develop that goal-oriented mindset that we want to continue to be great every single night, and it's a collection of individuals doing it as a team, then we'll be great. Until then, we'll just look like great guys that look good on paper and still haven't figured out yet. But I'm confident and I'm patient. And like I said, I don't take any day for granted having this group and being able to develop for the long term.
Alex Schiffer with The Athletic.
Hey, Kyrie, in the second half, you guys had multiple chances you got rid of the lead and you got down to one possession or so, and then you just couldn't get over that hump. I guess just what do you think held you guys back from making that one final leap when you guys run those runs?
Well, usually when we're going against the teams that we're down against, when we're down and we're down in a hole, guys get comfortable, start making shots that they don't normally make. You watch film and they're not making, like, a lot of the guys did not have 10 plus points against any other team, but they are the Detroit Pistons, the same Detroit Pistons that took the Lakers to double OT the other night. We have to give respect to them in terms of what they're capable of doing. But I always come on here and I tell you guys, teams start doing the craziest things against us, and that's just the tale of the rest of the season. And we just got to be able to combat that. It is what it is. Guys are going to have career nights and try to score everything against us and do everything because everyone's watching. No one wants to see us be on that level. And I think that we have to develop that we are that team that has to battle through it. So we'll combat it.
Last question, Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey, Kyrie, in your experience, is defensive intensity and energy, is that stuff, is the tone for that set by any one person, or is that something that you guys have to come to collectively and figure out how to establish?
Team, man. It's all about our team effort. I could speak until I'm blue in the face. Somebody could yell out all the play calls, but it's really just the effort. And we've learned that since Yeah, everybody on this call, come on. We've been in fifth grade, fourth grade teaching defensive techniques, and now we're in the NBA, and we got to continue with that development in order to be on the big stage. We have to do it. We have to commit on that. We have to commit on that.
This version of the Brooklyn Nets, who we saw last night, can they win the chip this year, even with their lack of defense?
Yes, they can. If you're using last night as the litmus test, the kind of offensive show that Harden, Durant, and Kyrie put on, if they played like that, and I'm not saying they would against the Lakers because that's my question mark, but if they played like that, nobody can beat them. Nobody can beat them if they can play offense like that, because I think their defense just going to get better with familiarity. Not much better, but I think it'll get a little better in the second half. They played some good defense. And I saw Kawhi, Max, trying to push Harden down. We forget how strong James Harden is. Couldn't push him and back him down in the fourth quarter the way Kawhi tried to. And Kawhi is obviously a pretty strong guy. I just think that Kyrie is an absolute showstopper. He's box office. Kevin Durant, to me, let me tell you something. He's a superstar. He's a top 2 player on the planet. I think number 1, when he gets completely healthy and he's playing more defense, I think he's number 1. And James Harden, the unselfishness. He's reminding us he was a point guard in OKC. He will distribute the basketball. He's not selfish. He will give you the ball. Those things taken into consideration, I got to tell you something. I don't think anybody can stop the Nets offensively. I really, really don't.
Nets cannot beat the Lakers in a best-of-7 as currently constructed, as presently constituted. And last night's game included, Stephen A., even if we're only looking at that game. Now, if you want to say, could the Nets win a tournament? Yeah. If it was one and done, Nets could beat anyone on any given night. You could say that about a lot of NBA teams, but especially the Nets, because they're already they're going to be the best offensive team of all time. They're going, and since the Harden trade, that's statistically what they already are. They haven't even figured it out yet. And Kevin Durant, what's impressed me the most, coming off an Achilles, is he chose Brooklyn. Okay, I'm not going to join a 73-win super team. I hear the criticism. I'm going to forge my own path. He chose Brooklyn and was going to build the team around him. And just like that, they're a powerhouse. And off an Achilles, this man is not only playing great, amazingly efficient offensive basketball, all-time great, but he is choosing to guard the best perimeter player on the other team every single night. So my hat's off to him. And Kyrie, you mentioned, I say Kyrie's the best show in the NBA. And I totally agree, and you know I've said this for a long time. My beef with Harden is he doesn't hit clutch shots in the playoffs. He is an unselfish player. He's always done what his team has needed him to do. If it's take a million shots, he'll do that. If it's do what he's doing now, he'll do that. Be more of a playmaker and help his teammates, he'll do that. So they're outstanding offensively. They will not be able to beat the Lakers in a best-of-7 with this defensive unit. They just won't be able to do it. I don't see a way. They can score. They'll be the greatest scoring team of all time. They can't stop a nosebleed, and the Lakers can score.
Let me tell you something. The Lakers can score. The Lakers should be the favorites. We both have them as the favorites. Let's not get it confused. But what the Brooklyn Nets will force you to do is make shots, because the Lakers can clamp down on everybody else. Max, can you really see them clamping down on Brooklyn? No, you're going to have to outscore them, which means you're going to have to make sure you make shots. See, that's the difference here. And I think that they can make things tight. That's why I don't think anybody in the East is going to be able to beat them. I think Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and others, and obviously Schrader and others, they're going to be called upon to step up and make shots against Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is going to make their share of shots. And in terms of Kevin Durant, this has an opportunity, as you pointed out, in fairness to you, Max, to be the greatest year of Kevin Durant's career. Because with Steve Nash being a coach, Steve Nash being a coach, he's a rookie coach. He's never coached on any level. Mike D'Antoni, we know that he don't care about defense. If you sit up there and you understand that that's the climate you created, you hone in Kyrie Irving. James Harden is playing alongside you. Kyrie Irving is being selfless. James Harden, obviously, is being that point guard and incredibly selfless. It all comes under the umbrella of Kevin Durant's leadership. Everything is on him. And if this team ends up winning the chip, he will deserve about as much credit as LeBron has earned when he got at Cleveland to the championship. You know,
That's
and
right.
the Lakers, obviously,
That's right.
to a lesser
Kevin
degree.
Durant has
That's
a
what
chance.
Kevin Durant is doing there. He's got a chance.
He has a chance to prove his greatness in a way he's never done before and to elevate himself so that when people talk about the greatest of all time, and LeBron's always mentioned nowadays ahead of Kobe and Magic and Bird, KD is mentioned along with those guys by everybody. He has a chance to do that. I'll caution one thing. I mentioned it earlier in the show. That was a Clippers team who had played 5 games in 7 nights. It is true that they have so many guys who can score on the Nets at such an elite level, never mind Joe Harris, that when you have, it doesn't get any better defensively on the wings than Kawhi and Paul George. And when those guys are paying attention to KD and James Harden, who's on Kyrie? So they can score with anyone, but they just barely beat a Clippers team. They were lucky Paul George missed an open 3 at the end of the game, or they maybe don't win that game. They barely beat a team on a long road trip playing their 5th game in 7 nights.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.